This is for Algebra 2, Lesson 18, and it's dealing with the wonderful world of word problems, especially those that deal with distance, rate, and time. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a couple from Lesson 18b, and so if you're lucky, these are actually some from your homework. And I'm not doing the more basic, simple ones. I'm going to do these that are a little bit more confusing. But here's what I want you to be careful of. When you start to read this one, let me make sure I've got all this right here. Do you see how this one's in minutes and this one's in hours? That they're trying to trip you up right there, and I think they kind of gave you a hint. It says express bell times in hours. So first of all, hopefully this is simple. 3 3/4. Hopefully everybody realizes 3 3/4 is 3.75. If you don't realize that, 3/4, hit that in your calculator, 3 divided by 4, and your calculator will give you that as a decimal, okay? So this one, this time, right here, 3 3/4 hours, that's pretty easy as a decimal. What about 18 minutes? And here's the deal. Remember, we have been working on conversions anyway, and remember that there is 60 minutes in 1 hour, so this is probably the easiest way to do it, okay? Is to go ahead and convert that. So in your calculator, just hit 18 divided by 60. And when you do that, I'm doing it over here real quick, you get 0.3. So this is 0.3 hours. So that is the first thing you need to do when you do this problem, is make sure that everything is in hours. Okay, notice I have two scenarios here. It took Alicia 18 minutes to drive to work, okay? Her car broke down and it took her 3 3/4 hours to walk home. Hopefully you see the two different scenarios. Sometimes she's driving, sometimes she's walking. So I want to see this little box. And the reason we're going to do this box is on the next chapter, chapter 19. They get even more interesting. And if you've already gotten used to filling in this block, it makes it really easy. But remember, distance equals rate times time. Do your two scenarios. One time she's driving and another time she's walking. All right, so let's see what we've got. I'm looking through my phone here. It's always fun. Okay, it took her 18 minutes to drive to work. So this is a time. So it took her 0.3 hours to drive to work. That's her time. And we already had read earlier. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. I know that's 3.75. God love her, to walk. And she drove at a rate of 50 miles per hour. So she drove at a rate of 50 miles per hour. Now remember that distance equals rate times time. So I know this distance that she went, and I could go ahead and fill this in. Put that in your calculator, 50 times 0.3, and see what you get. But obviously, you know, 5 times 3 is 15, so you get 15. So the distance was 15 miles, okay? Her car, God love her, broke down, and it took her 3 3/4 hours to walk home. Too bad she didn't have a cell phone to call. What is the distance between home and work? Okay, well, we already found that. Okay, there was my distance, 15 miles, but how fast did she walk? I'm looking for this rate right here. I know that the distance there to work is the same distance as home, okay? And we know that distance equals rate times time. My distance is 15. I don't know my rate, but here was the time. So just divide both sides by 3.75. Those will cancel out. So in my calculator, I'm just going to hit 15 divided by 3.75, and I'm going to get, I'm over here working on it, divided by 3.75, and I get 4. And so she was walking at a rate of 4 miles per hour. Okay, and that's that one. Okay, let's try another one. Let's hopefully this one's a little bit more interesting. I doubt it, you know. But that was number 4. Let's try number 5. Joanne and Jenny. Do you see the two scenarios already? We got Joanne and we got Jenny. They both walked to the park. Joanne walked at 4 miles per hour and Jenny walked at 3 miles per hour. It took Joanne 2 hours to make the trip, so how long did it take Jenny to make the trip? And how far away is the park? So there's like 2 questions in one. And yes, I know you can do these without setting up this box. But again, we're just kind of practicing for future scenarios. So let me come over here. This is for number 5. I'm using my lovely little scrap paper. And I'm going to do my little box. And just, I can't help it because I know it's coming up. I always make this first box about a little bit bigger than the other two. And you can kind of see that. It doesn't really matter right now, but you know, I know what's coming, so it's a habit. Okay, here's my two scenarios, and I always label it. I got Joanne. I got lovely Jerry. Oh, excuse me, Jenny. Jenny, Jerry, whatever. Okay, they both walked. Joanne, it said, went 4 miles per hour, and Jenny walked at 3 miles per hour. It took Joanne 2 hours to make the trip. Okay, so look, I know distance equals rate times time, so I can already tell you that 8's going to go in there. So it says it took, how long did it take Jenny to make the trip? Well, they're both going to the park, okay? So this distance should be the same, and that's kind of what you need to realize right here. So again, distance equals rate times time. So if you do this, I don't know the time. That's what it's asking me, okay? How far away is the park? Gosh, we already answered that. But how long did it take Jenny to make the trip? Well, the distance was 8. She was going 3 miles per hour. Divide both sides by 3. Okay. 8 divided by 3 is what? 2 2/3. So 2 2/3 hours. My guess is they probably don't want it like that. They probably want it in hours and minutes. Okay. So some of you might already realize how many minutes this is. Okay. If you don't, here's what you can do. We got 2/3 hours. And remember that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So if this is hours, okay, 2/3 of an hour, if you want to write it like that, that's hours. Whoops. And remember there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay, so you can take 2 times 60 is 120, divided by 3, which is 40 minutes. Okay, or you can do it like this. 3 will go into 60 20 times. 20 times 2 is 40. I don't care. And if you already knew that 2/3 of an hour is 40 minutes, good for you. Here's how you do it just in case. So your answer for the time is it took her 2 hours and 40 minutes to walk to the park. These people need to get bikes or something. All right, see if that's enough to get you started.